Hi, everybody, and welcome back to EBNet Stream. For today's exec meet and greet, I'm joined by Karina Wessels, who, forgive me if I read her title out, is the Executive of Governance, Legal, Compliance, and Sustainability at Alex Forbes. And I've really been looking forward to this conversation with Karina. So welcome to EBNet Stream, Karina.
Thanks, Natalie. It's great to chat to you, and it's great to see you.
It's a long title, Karina. Perhaps you could start by sharing with us what you do on a day-to-day.
So, obviously it involves executive accountability for governance, which includes, the full governance process, as well as being the company secretary, or, and corporate and commercial support for the board. On the legal side, of course, the legal function, as well as in my personal capacity, specifically mergers and acquisitions. But Fiona, which most people I think that listen to this will know, obviously is fabulous in leading the legal function, within my team. Then on the compliance side, it's the second line compliance. So the first line still reports into business, and we do the oversight. And then from the sustainability perspective, and that really is the most exciting part, in my view. Not that I'm saying the others aren't exciting and important. But from a sustainability side, it's not just our own sustainability, but it's also our impact advisory business, which we started 3 years ago. So that's quite different from the rest of my role, which is advisory and support, versus the impact advisory business, which we started from scratch, and which includes the Impact Academy that you can see on the screen behind me. So that, as I say, really is super exciting in terms of starting an entirely new business line in Alex Forbes.
So I'm going to go there because you chose your favorite child. And we all know that you can't have a favorite child, but let's pretend it's this role that you fill in sustainability. Maybe you can talk us a little bit more about that and about what really gets you going when it comes to sustainability, where the market is, and where you're hoping to take this business.
So I think, importantly, when we decided to establish this business, we recognized a deficiency in the market. And we recognized that although corporates have transformed from a sustainability and ESG perspective, research has, clearly shown that retirement funds haven't. As much as, Regulation 28 requires them to take ESG into consideration in their investment decisions, that's quite superficial often. It really is ticking a box, and they haven't matured the way that many corporates have, in terms of integrating ESG into their thinking and into their businesses. And it's so critical, the role that retirement funds play, in the entire ecosystem, that it's even, more important than a corporate, being sustainable, is actually for a retirement fund to be sustainable 50 to 100 to 150 years from now. They need to be around, and they need to be healthy, to look after members. So, we were very passionate about looking differently at what a retirement fund needs to look like into the future, and what they need to take into consideration in order to ensure that they're sustainable. And that's really why we started focusing on this. And through the process of engaging with trustees, we recognized how they struggled with these concepts. The concepts of ESG and sustainability are quite confusing often, and that's really why we started the Impact Academy, specifically focusing on educating them within the sustainability space primarily.
And from your personal point of view, what is it about, excuse me, what is it about this piece of work that excites you so much?
I think the ability to really have real world impact, and I know that sounds like motherhood and apple pie, and it's also obviously part of the Alex Forbes tagline in terms of impact, but it really is the ability to change the way that trustees are thinking about the decisions that they make, thinking differently about the members that they represent, and how that membership base is shifting as an example, from a generational perspective, and that they need to take different, realities into consideration in terms of things that are important for different generations, as an example. So that ability to to really influence their thinking, and to change their mindsets, to see the opportunity in this, and to recognize how important it is as part of their fiduciary duties to think in this way, I think is a massive opportunity to have impact in firstly in the retirement fund space, but then more broadly in the corporate space as well. The ability of retirement funds to impact the entire value chain in terms of the assets that they ultimately hold, and how those businesses they need to think differently about their sustainability and their practices is massively powerful. And it creates such a great opportunity to to influence that entire value chain.
Look, it's a big role, and there's certainly a lot of challenges to it. So what is your background that's kind of landed you in this place in your career?
I've tended, I suppose, to be a bit of a jack of all trades. Hopefully there's some mastering in there somewhere, and it's not a master of none. But so I'm a lawyer by profession, but I often say I'm not a real lawyer, and that really is the case. I've always been a lot more interested in the commercial side of things. So very early on in my career, started focusing more on the commercial components of business, and specifically commercial law. And obviously spent a lot of my career in boardrooms, in those strategic discussions, but also moved in different areas. So I spent time in continuous business improvement. I spent time in human resources. Spent a significant proportion of my career in the mining industry. So quite different to financial services. So I think in summary, I've been lucky enough to be exposed to a variety of components in business, and that's made it possible for me to also step into very different roles that may not naturally seem like something that a lawyer would be doing. But sustainability, as an example, is also so intertwined into strategy and into all components of business, and also specifically into governance, that has been sort of a flow through a lot of the stuff that I've done as well.
Almost a theme of your career.
Absolutely.
You can use that.
I will.
You come across as very passionate about your subject, and about the things that you do all day, but I'm sure that you have experienced some challenges and obstacles in your career. Perhaps you'd like to share some of those with us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you don't spend time, especially in boardrooms, and not have challenges, and I think some of the toughest times that I've gone through, I honestly have said that I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemies, but it often has to deal with, I think, the politics to a certain extent in the boardroom, the different egos, the different agendas, and navigating that, and it's not something that you can avoid. It's obviously part of business, and I think that ability to be sensitive to it, and to learn from each of those experiences, so that you can better respond the next time that you face some of those challenges. So yeah, I won't put some of my past colleagues on the spot by speaking about real situations, but that definitely has been some of I think the themes as well around some of the key challenges.
find yourself overcoming them? And I speak now, and forgive me for saying this, but as a woman in the boardroom, I myself have come across probably very self-same challenges that you have. And how, perhaps for the women watching this, how have you overcome those?
I think, perhaps one of the most practical examples, and that I can go into a bit more detail, is that, very early on in my career, whilst I was still in the mining industry, in order to come across as confident as a youngster, that what you're talking about, and you obviously want to instill confidence in what you're saying and what you're proposing. I had, in certain instances, specifically men responding, negatively because they perceived me as aggressive. And I definitely reflected on that, and I do believe that I've honed that skill to come across, still as confident and as certain in the advice that you're giving, but trying to tone down some of that perceived aggression. And that definitely, I think, has, in my case, led to better responses in terms of the receiving party. They're not also responding negatively or aggressively just because they experience you as approaching them in a certain way. But it is I think it is a constant learning process, not just, from a gender perspective, but from a broad diversity perspective, is that, there isn't a one size fits all for how to engage with people. And I think that sensitivity towards trying to understand what is it that make, a certain person tick, what is it that's important for them, and how do you interact with them in order to bring out the best from that person and from whatever situation or relationship you're trying to create.
It's such a great conversation. I've got two youngsters. Well, they're not so young anymore. They're both at university, and it's an interesting conversation when you talk about careers with them, and what the future of the world will look like. And listening to you talk, and overlaying that with an AI is going to take all the jobs. What kind of would your advice be to a youngster 22, 20 years old, about to pick something to study and launch into the workplace? What would your advice to them be?
Sure, that is a tough one, Natalie. In most instances, the people that I mentor, and I'm quite passionate about that, in terms of I think the responsibility that we have as, not just as leaders, but as human beings, to guide others, in as much as we can. But so I actually have quite a lot of conversations with youngsters about this. Obviously, often they come from a legal background already, and they have that slant in terms of how to go into a particular career. But generally speaking, my advice is don't specialize, too soon. Get to understand business broadly, and find those opportunities where you can learn different components. So, that's not a definitive answer in terms of, career or the types of roles that you must look out for. But I think it is, people often, just want to get to a specific role and then get to the more senior role in that specific role, and then, have this straight line career path. I think ultimately, when you progress further on in your career, the more you've, sort of moved around, and not necessarily perhaps, straight line, you just have broader experience, you understand business better, you can have that commercial mindset, and you can just, approach things differently. So yeah, that's I suppose some general advice.
And certainly it speaks to my career. We were talking about this before we hit record on this session, and it's the scenic route that kind of brings you to where you are, right?
Absolutely.
In your place in your career, and gives you a very interesting perspective of the industry, and whatever industry that might be. Onto kind of a little bit more personal with Karina. What is it that you would do on an average weekend?
Um, Often it does entail work, but sadly, But I love cycling, so both mountain biking and road cycling, and there's a specific charity that we also support through the road cycling that we do called Change a Life, which is a great combination for me in terms of what I like to do from a physical perspective, but also once again having impact or making a difference, and love to do that with my husband. Very excited that we recently eventually got our 11-year-old daughter also to cycle. So for a very long time, she just refused, because I think she saw us on the bikes too many times, or she saw some of my scars from the mountain biking and she thought she would die. But so love that. Love to travel as well. I love to experience new things. I actually like cooking. People often seem surprised about that. I don't know why, but I can cook. and then I'll be honest. I because of the pace that I run at, I sometimes absolutely hit the wall, and then I just want to lie and watch, or binge watch a series for 4 hours on a Saturday or a Sunday. So yeah, quite varied and different depending on what's on the go.
It really sounds like a very full life. So I'm glad you added in the end there that you, like the rest of us mortals, that kind of lie on the couch and watch Netflix every now and then and pretend the world doesn't exist.
Absolutely.
I want to just wrap up and maybe hit on something that I'm actually curious about. So, when you were talking about it, your love of travel, what has been the most unique, bizarre, curious experience you've had?
Oh, wow. That's a difficult one. I think the probably the most bizarre one, so not necessarily from an experiential perspective great or whatever, but so I when I still worked for De Beers, I traveled to Africa a lot. So I traveled to Angola and with a group, and we arrived and there was something wrong with my visa, and they didn't allow me entry, and the rest of the group had gone in. So long story short, I end up in a room with a few people that don't speak English at all. They eventually, sort of walk me and shove me into a car at the airport, but without saying anything to me. So I have no idea where we're going, what's happening to me, whatever.
Wow.
And eventually they drive this car back to the entrance of the airport, and they basically put me back on the plane that I just arrived in. So my colleagues used to joke about I take a Boeing 747 for a Sunday afternoon ride, but at least thankfully I was not deported. So on the record, I wasn't deported. I was just escorted back onto the plane I arrived on.
That sounds, I'm not sure I would have coped with as great a sense of humor as you've just described.
I have had some years to recover from the emotional trauma.
Oh my word. Karina, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you this afternoon. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I look forward to catching up with you soon again.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Natalie, and great engaging with you as well.